You can do the thing. No matter what you're doing, no matter what's going on, I believe you can get it done. So how are you all doing today? Today is Saturday. I know you might have been joining me last time. Last time was literally like what? 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 5 hours ago. But oh god, yeah. I don't know. It's been an interesting day. What happened today? Well, if you're on the last stream when I started, got to get an infusion with my wife, got to the infusion center, and they're like, you're not scheduled. And we can't get you in today. I'm like, oh. Okay, thanks. Thanks? So we have to wait till Monday because they're closed on Sunday, which is the most annoying thing in the world. So yeah, that's kind of what's going on. How are you all doing today? I have no viewers right now, which is totally fine. Whatever. Had some coffee because I thought I needed some coffee. And my body's like, no, you don't need coffee. Because you had coffee and you don't need coffee, we're just going to make you tired now. Additionally, I have no idea what went wrong with Codebunk last time. So it works now for some reason. I have no idea what went wrong, so hopefully this will work. Oh boy, yeah. Oh my god, so some fun Haskell stuff I did today. Played some StarCraft. Actually, I'm getting into StarCraft too, like I said a while ago. That's really fun. I decided to do a noob strat, which worked on 2 out of 3 games. I was facing Terran players, and I decided to do a probe rush. And I won both games within like the first 2 minutes. Of course, however, because the surrender was so fast, I didn't get anything for it, which sucks. But on the third one, I did a probe rush, and then I came back, and I was facing a Protoss player. And I messed up, and I didn't block. I didn't block it, nor did I kill a probe. The enemy probe that came in. So the enemy probe came in and started laying down photon cannons and all of the other stuff. And I lost, which was fine. He was pretty salty, and I learned my lesson from doing a probe rush. I probably won't do it again. Additionally, probe rushes are like a newbie tactic in StarCraft 2, which they probably would never work anywhere else, which is fine. I had my fun. Doing probe rushes was fun. So yeah, how is everything going? It is 12 minutes till Azmodan starts. By the way, guys, by the by, right? MULTI. If you guys would like to watch both at the same time, there is the link in the chat box for the multi-Twitch. You can watch both me and Azmodan's channel at the same exact time. Additionally, you can tab between the chats if you want. You can totally do that if you want to. I don't know, follow me with Firefox, follow Azmodan with Chrome or whatever browsers you want to use. That'd be cool. You can use multi-Twitch. I was about to say something, but I totally forgot. Yeah, use multi-that. You can tab, or you can do whatever else you want to do. It's really fun looking at the recording, because the recording, at least from what I see, is like 6 seconds, 3 seconds behind. It's really interesting. Because I literally, every time I look over to my camera, it's me in the past. Sure, 3 seconds in the past, but I can remember it. But it's me in the past. It's kind of interesting when you think of it. We can't see ourselves in the future, but we can see ourselves in the past. That's quite cool. Oh boy, I don't know. Tomorrow at 11 in the morning will be my 68K programming, so you can check that out as well. There's actually going to be coding in the 68K one. Haskell one, there's still no coding since I'm trying to understand a lot of stuff. But the 68K one, there will be programming, which was great. Excuse me. The wife's doing fine. She's up and about. We're able to go places. Her bloating's going down. We just have to wait for an infusion, but everything's working pretty good. She's doing really well. I plan to be back at work at the 13th of this month. Not looking forward to that. The Twitch extension, oh my god, the Twitch extension for that programming guy is going so bad. Like, I was originally gonna have the button just send me an email, and then I was like, wait, is there something else I can do? I'm like, I know, I can use Square. And the Square's documentation is so bad. And then I heard from somebody, oh, you can try to use Stripe. So I signed up for Stripe. And the Stripe's documentation on how to use their payment portal is so extremely easy. I love Stripe's documentation. So I got Stripe on it, and I tested it, and it didn't work because Stripe will redirect you to the form to fill out your name and card number and everything. And you are not allowed to redirect in your iframe with Twitch extensions. In the Twitch extension, it is so stupid. So I mean, there's multiple ways to get around this. There is I could just use the elements to make the UI myself, so there's no redirection. And then when they click order, everything works. But the problem with that is I don't have enough room in the extension. There's not enough room in the extension. That's the problem, because I can show my product and I can have the order button. But where are they going to fill out their name, their address, their card number? How are they going to do all that, right? And that's the weird thing. So I'm like, maybe Stripe can do a pop out, but I can't find out how to do that. There's that possibility because Streamlabs does it. If you actually use the Streamlabs extension, when you collect purchase with your whatever's in your cart, it pops out a new window to enter all your information. And that's cool. If I figured out how to do that, that would work. But in the meantime, I could use, all the Stripe elements, but it's like, I need the room. And so what Streamlabs does is actually once you press the cart button, what you see is shifted over and it's placed with a new view that has all the information or something. I don't know. It's something weird. Oh yeah, it shifts over and was like, all right, cool. Is this the stuff you want? And then it does a pop out. And it's like, man, I could do that. I don't know how to do it though. And I don't know what to ask for and what to search for to get what I need done. It's like, Twitch does its thing. The API sucks, but I managed to get it to work. Stripe's API is great, but the two don't mesh together. And it's like, oh god, why is there so much? And then it's like, hey, if you want, you could run us on the back end as well to do everything, but I don't think that'll solve my problem. And actually, that's one problem with coding. It's like, will this solve my problem? Will it not solve my problem? I have no idea. Anyway, we have about 7 minutes left until Azmodan comes online. If you guys want to watch both at the same time, you can do an exclamation multi to get the link to watch Azmodan and me at the same time. If you don't want to do that, I will have Azmodan on my sound, so OBS will also pick up his voice as well. So you're not missing out. But I would recommend to either do the multi-Twitch or watch me on one browser and Azmodan on another browser, just so both of us can get the views and you can be really nice about it. I can't believe other okay, let's just close that. I can't believe the other past two episodes I managed to be talking for 15 minutes. How do I talk for 15 minutes? It's a really long time to talk. Mostly I just have to keep coming up about stuff. That's about it, isn't it? Anyway, I keep going. So, I mean... Oh, that's fine, Azmodan. What I could have done is I could have just, started at the 8:15 mark, and you could have started at 8. We could have done that, but I'm like, I can talk for 15 minutes. I can do it. I mean, it's my Twitch personality, so... Your setup time, that's cool. I don't have a lot of setup. Well, no, I do, kind of. I don't know if my setup is a lot. But I did, do all the Twitch dashboard and stuff way before this, so I don't know. Anyway, I don't know. It's fun. We got 5 more minutes left, guys. Blue Barn, do you all upload the videos to YouTube? Blue Barn, I do upload my videos to YouTube. I don't know if Azmodan does, but you can look below. You can go down below, and there is my YouTube link that you can totally follow. I do put all of my videos up there for that programming guy, so you can watch that. However, my video only has my screen, but it does have, and it only has my chat. It doesn't have Azmodan's chat as well, but it does have him talking. Oh, you have a YouTube channel as well. Well, I'll be sure to follow you then. We can be subscription buddies, Azmodan. You can be my 40th subscriber, how's that? No. My 39th. I have 38 subscribers. Yeah, my YouTube, I called it Practice Makes Better because I originally started it, and I still do it now for the Haskell channel to show that if you practice something, you get better at it. It probably should be renamed to That Programming Guy. You only have 15. Yeah, well, I've been doing this a bit longer. As well, I separate my gaming YouTube's channel from my That Programming Guy YouTube channel. I don't want to mix the two. The same thing. Oh, you have 29. Well, good for you. Look at you, Mr. Person who has more subscribers than I do. Yep. So yeah, Blue Barn, if you want, either join us on the multi-Twitch or on maybe a separate browser. You can look at Azmodan's stream as well to give him the viewer counts, which would be great because viewers are awesome. Because it seems like programming is going to carry Active Fireball, and Active Fireball is not going to carry programming, which is fine, whatever. And by the way, if you do like the unicorn, Blue Barn, I actually sell shirts with that unicorn on them. With the rainbow unicorn, because it's the best thing in the world. I freaking love this unicorn, man. It's the best unicorn ever. But yeah, I don't have enough subscribers to have a dedicated name yet. Oh well. I'll live. Oh hey, look, he actually went on to Azmodan's thing. That's cool. Blue Barn, you're awesome. I hope you know that. Might have to get some more water before this is done. Jesus Christ. Probably all the sugar I had. Stupid sugar. Alright, guys. Well, we have 2 minutes left. Yep. 2 minutes left, and then we can just start continuing Python. I have held off on saying exactly where we are yet in this episode because I'm waiting for Azmodan to be in the chat as well, and then we can talk about it. So that's why I haven't described it yet. I don't know. Yeah. I guess I should also put my website too on my Twitch thing as well, since I have a website up now. That's a good idea. Oh, he even says learning to code. Oh, Azmodan, that's so nice. Oh, that's so cool. All right, guys, 55 seconds left. We can do this. Can we build it? Yes, we can. You guys remember Bob the Builder? Oh, I was too old for Bob the Builder. 40 seconds. Oh, guys, have you heard about the Fire Festival? I just watched a documentary on it. It's so crazy. America just lets you do so much crazy stuff with money. 30 seconds. I'm going to use this for 30 seconds to say that I don't have a topic to think of within these 10 seconds. 20 seconds. You know, Skies of Arcadia is a really fun game. I actually have my 100% -1 run on my YouTube channel, and it was -1 because I forgot one chest. Legend of Legaia I'm doing currently now in my active Fireball if you want to watch that and follow me. Anyway, we have 5 seconds left. Everyone, stay hold tuned and please enjoy the show. Azmodan is now doing his intro. So we will wait for him. Hello.
Hello.
Guten Tag.
Welcome back.
Yes.
I had a 5-second intro because that's all I needed.
That's fine. I just wait for you. All right. Cool.
By the way,
yes.
What were you saying before? I was kind of like quickly preparing and I missed it. Something about coding and that's nice of me. Something.
Oh yeah. No, on your intro it said learning to code.
Oh yeah. I every game or whatever I'm doing, I always put it in that little bottom box.
Oh. Cool. Oh my god. Sorry. Speaking of that, I know the perfect intro for that programming guy. Are you ready to hear this? Have you seen my little icon thing with the unicorn and the rainbow?
Yes.
Okay. That. I need to animate it. The unicorn rearing up, neighing, and then the rainbow showing up behind the unicorn with like sparklies or twinkles or something. Oh my god.
That would be really nice.
It would be. I just cannot pay for one now because we're waiting for my wife's hospital bill to come in.
Yeah.
I'm not looking forward to that.
Yeah, hospital bills are expensive.
Yep.
Our Canadian has free healthcare.
Yeah. 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 I was thinking, I was like, you know what, sweetie? We should divorce, and then you should get payment assistance because you make not as much money as I do. Once you're approved for it, we should remarry again. Because then we don't have to pay as much.
Oh. Makes sense.
Yes. Anyway, so Azmodan's peoples and my peoples. I guess I should just talk to you, not to the viewers, even though they're awesome anyway. So, if you remember, how much do you remember of last week?
I remember some of it, and the more we start going over it, the more I'll quickly recall it.
All right, cool. So let me go over quickly what we did last week. We went over loops, the while loop and the for loop. We said the while loop has, 3 parts. It has the initialization, it has the testing, it has the update. The for loop in Python is a bit different. It's much more streamlined. You might see for loops instead like this. So you might see something like for x is assigned to 0. I'm going to use semicolons just because this is not a Python thing. Keep going until x is less than 10, and then x plus plus, and then stuff. So the initialization is this, the testing is this, and the update is this, and for loops just allow you to put it in one spot. This is a for loop. This version of Python is a for loop. In other languages, it's called a for each loop. Python just uses for. Whatever, Python, be weird. Once we went over loops, we also went over conditional, so less than, greater than, less than equal to is greater than equal to, not equal to, ands, ors, ifs, else ifs. So we talked about, when will an and be true, when will an or be true. Boolean logic is basically what we talked about. And then now we're going into let's make a game where we are basically guessing numbers and we need to guess what the computer has chosen.
Okay.
And in there, we did a bit of pseudo programming where we're like, here's the English description of what we need, and start to break down that English description into smaller English descriptions until we can get to a point where we're like, all right, here's the code. And then we realized it's really hard to test because the setup we had was not good.
Yeah, because Codebunk decided to crap out.
Yes. But now, because we have Codebunk working, we can actually figure it out. So, no. Oh my god. Okay. There we go, thank you. I have a habit to always press Control S. And it doesn't work that well on the internet. So now where we are is, now we have a bit here. Now the question is, will it be correct? So a correctness is a thing in software development. If you have a method or a function that adds two numbers together, you need to make sure it's correct. You need to make sure that if you give a 5 and a 5, it returns 10. You need to make sure if you give it a 7 and then like a 5, it returns 7, 8, 9 to 12. The function won't work. Like if you say add 1 and 1 and you get 5, you're like, wait a minute, how that won't work.
Yeah.
So testing is a big thing. There's actually a whole entire field called SDET. It's spelled like this. SDET. It basically stands for Software Development Engineer in Test, and this is basically you're testing a lot of stuff. Usually when you're writing code for yourself, you don't really need to test it. Like, this is trivial, and so just kind of from looking at it, we can walk through it and be like, okay, based on if we guess the right number, we're going to get this. If we guess the wrong number, we're going to get this. But once code gets like 1,000 lines long, 2,000 lines long, that's, when you really need different kind of testing where you have to make sure individual functionality works, where you have to make sure that overall functionality works, or to the point where, like, if you add something, you didn't break something that existed.
Yeah.
So we were on the, okay, cool, a line 19 prints out what the computer guesses, and then we will try to guess it and not guess it and see what happens. Right now, we won't deal with the, if you're too high, have the computer say you're too high. If we're too low, say the computer's too low. We're just going to start trying to have this tested. Basically is what we're doing.
Okay.
Cool. Do you have any questions?
None so far.
Okay. If you have any questions, do like we do in all the past episodes. We're like, Darren, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I have a question.
If I have a question, I will ask it.
Cool. So, question for you.
Okay.
Let's say we want to test. We want to make sure that our first guess is correct. So, we're going to be asked to input a number. And let's say our first guess is correct. According to what you see from 17 to 23, what should happen? Go ahead, talk it out.
Okay, so as soon as we hit run, it'll import just a random.
Yes.
And the random will be a random integer between 1 and 100, and it'll be stored in value rando.
Yup.
And it will print out the the number of the guess is, and then it'll be computer number, which is the rando. So right now what we have right here is it's actually telling us what the guess is already from the get-go.
Yes, which just allows us to test it to make sure it's correct.
Yeah. And then it'll ask us for an input, say, enter a number, which we enter. And then...
Now, let's say in line 20, we enter the correct number.
We have not put that... Wait, have we put that in? No, we haven't put it in yet.
What'll happen to the while loop? Will we go into the while loop if we put in the correct number on the first time?
Oh yeah, guess equals okay. Well, guess is the exclamation mark enter. What was that again?
Does not equal.
It would not go into the while loop then.
Correct. So now let's say in line 20 we guess the wrong number. Will it go into the while loop?
Yes, it would go into the while loop, which apparently we have not actually typed much out.
Correct, which is fine. We're not going there right now. We will get there, but we're just walking through this. Now let's say in line 23, I guess the correct number.
Okay.
So it means so at the end of the while loop 23, it's going to go back to 21, and it's going to evaluate that guess does not equal rando. So on line 23, we guess the correct number. Will we go into the while loop a second time?
No.
Correct. Now if we get to line 23 and we do an incorrect guess, will we go back into the while loop?
Yes.
Correct. So now because we walked through this, and because guess does not equal rando can either have a yes or no value, we know that if guess does not equal the random number, we're going to update it. We're going to tell the user, hey, you didn't guess the right number, and we're going to ask for another guess. We won't get out of this while loop until we have guessed the correct number. Do you agree with me on that?
Agreed.
Agree. So that means once we get out of the while loop and we are on line 24 or 25 or after the while loop, we know that the user has guessed the correct number.
Yeah.
Yes. So that is assumptions you can start to make. Now, in something like this, it's small. We can add a comment, on line 24 or 25 that says, once we get to here, the user has guessed the correct number. And then you can program like the user has guessed the correct number. Something like that. That works totally fine. And those are assumptions, we are making. So when looking at other programs, a lot of people make their own assumptions as well. Sometimes those assumptions are really big assumptions that you have to figure out. Sometimes they're smaller ones. But those are assumptions you made. That's kind of a thing on correctness, because now we can, we see guess does not equal random as either true or false. We can totally be like, we can make assumptions and guesses based on this. And it gets bigger and bigger. But it's basically a value of correctness a little bit. But just keep that in mind. We're able to walk through it. We basically we almost like, what we could say is like, theoretically, the program should be doing this.
Yeah.
Now we have to practically do it. So, from walking through, it looks like the game does what we want it to do.
Yeah.
And so now, in line 22, do the game is basically the update. Or not the update, but it's like, okay, cool. Is the guess. So we know from the while loop, they didn't guess the correct number. So the user is either too high or too low. So we need to tell the user that they are too high, which means we have a conditional or a branching statement because we want some code to execute if we're too high and different code to execute if we're too low. Do you remember if things, if and else's?
I vaguely remember them.
Cool.
So if I remember correctly, it starts off with like if, brackets.
I don't remember brackets are needed, but keep going. You are on the correct path, though.
If guess is, let's go higher than rando.
Mm-hmm.
And then close the bracket and tab in just so we know it's there.
You will need a no. That is that is incorrect for Python. I just looked it up because I knew it was different. If you're in C, C++, Java, C#, that is actually the correct syntax.
Okay.
It is like this, and it's not your fault. Python's weird. It's like that.
Okay.
So if guess is greater than rando, keep going.
So then it would be here. We want to print.
P in print is lowercase.
Been doing too much work reports and everything, so I'm capitalizing everything.
That's fine.
Your guess is too high for now.
Yep.
And then
Cool. Else, E-L-S-E.
Else. Then do I do?
Your else, one second. Else will be like that. Hold on. There we go. Like that.
Okay.
Because anything tabbed over is inside the if statement.
Yeah,
if
that's what I was
thing.
thinking too.
Yeah. So else.
And then-
So now, this else, it's basically like if guess is greater than rando, print this. Otherwise, anything else, do this instead.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Which I don't really want just yet, because I mean, actually, no, that would make sense, because if it's not above and it's not exactly, it'll be below.
Correct.
So do I have like a bracket, or do I actually have to go to the next line?
Go to the next line.
Over?
Tab over.
And then print bracket. Your guess is too low.
Correct. Now you have an else if, so to make it a tad bit more explicit, if you would like to do it, I'm going to show you one way to do it, and then there's actually a shorthand way of doing this. You could do something like this, else, then you could do a if guess is less than rando, colon. You could do that, right? Which makes sense, because now we're explicit. So Python allows you to kind of combine the words else and if into one thing called elif. If you want to, and that is basically another, it's kind of a bit more explicit. So both ways what you did work just fine. Doing else is totally fine, just because this actually shows another thing is, once we get to else on 24, we have to keep 3 things in our head. One, that we're in the loop only when guess doesn't equal the random number. We are in else only if guess is less than rando. So that's 2 things. Yeah, 2 things really. 2 things we have to worry about. And this is one thing you also want to kind of think about, because the average human can keep between 7 to 9 things in their short-term memory at once. And so you don't want things to be uber complex or have like 9 layers of abstraction, which is just ugh. So now we have if guess is greater than rando, we say your guess is too high, otherwise your guess is too low, and then we prompt them for a guess. So basically you can almost take line 20 and copy from int all the way over and slap it onto line 26.
Oh, from int?
Well, either way, I mean, you can do that, and then just after the equal sign at the hashtag get guess, just copy paste over that. There you go. So to separate our loops, let's do that, and that way we can kind of see that, hey, print is not part of while.
Right.
And this is the really annoying thing about Python, is they don't use brackets.
They don't use what?
Brackets. Yeah. So one thing I want to show you is...
One thing we could also do to help us kind of break things up, we could also do that, the gap there, so we can say, okay, this is the while statement, this is the stuff setting everything up, right?
Yes, very correct. Yeah, that is something else. White space is really good. But no, one thing I wanted to show you, so I'm going to quickly copy this to my notepad file, because I want to show you something. Because other languages make this a little bit easier to watch. Let's just switch to C# really quickly. So this would actually look like this. Oopsies. Let's put that big back. And the brackets and the parentheses actually make this a bit easier to read. Oopsies. And then that. That way, that with the brackets, I don't know. I think the brackets are easier to read. I don't like white spaces. Depends on you, though. I just want to show you there's other languages out there.
Yeah.
I don't know. Anyway, let's switch this back to Python. I guess I shouldn't be showing you multiple languages. Let's take what you wrote, paste it back in there. All right, so now that we put in line 23 through 27, let's say now do the same exercise we did before a bit earlier in the episode, but now again go through it, but now we have this other code here.
Okay, so it's going to import random, which is basically a library that for making random numbers, right?
Yes.
Then we state that rando, what the hell are they called?
I don't know. What are you thinking about?
What rando is?
It's a variable.
Variable, thank you. Brain just kind of shut off on me.
That's okay.
The variable rando is equal to and then it generates a random number using this code between 1 and 100.
Yes.
And then it will say, I mean, in this case, it's printing out, hey, this is what the number is. And then it's going to say, hey, enter a number. let us know what you think. Take a guess what it is. Putting
Yes.
in also the variable as well of what guess is. And then then we go into a while statement of while guess is not equal to rando, it will go through these steps right here, where if guess is higher than rando, it will say your guess is too high. But if it's too lower than or anything else, it'll be lower than rando. And after that, it'll always say, hey, put in another number.
Yep.
And then we'll go back to the beginning up here until we get it right, and then it'll print out, congrats, you got the right number.
Yep. Good job. Do you want to try it? Invalid syntax. Oh, we forgot the colon.
Oh.
Right there. It should be like that. Now you can try it. Oh, what did we do wrong? There's also another colon. God damn it, I hate Python. Come on, dude. Okay. There we go. Enter a number, Azmodan. Make sure you click RAF. There you go, 95. There you go.
There you go.
Good job.
Fantastic.
You made, and this is your second game, man. You're just making all the money.
Oh yeah, totally.
Totally.
I still say my first one was the best one, you know. No matter what, you lose.
Like life.
Yep.
All right. So I was actually expecting this would take like a bit longer. Okay. So a few things I want to point out here. Let's say we didn't have line 20. Let's say line 20 was commented out. We didn't have this. This would error out because guess isn't defined.
Yeah.
Python would be like, the guess is in here. I don't know what you're doing. That's fine. So we could get around this, kind of making a Boolean variable and putting the Boolean variable in a while, so we can actually force ourselves to do this at least once. Hold on. Okay, so let me just start over. There is something in programming called the loop and a half problem.
Okay.
So let's say you're building a fence. Oh my god, perfect idea. Let's say you're building a fence, right? And your fence consists of a picket and a space. So let's say you're building the picket in the space. So let's say you want to put 5 posts down. You put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Well, the problem is you always have this space at the end, but you want it to look like this. You don't want a space at the end, but you're printing out a pipe and a space or an underscore. You're like, it's not supposed to be that way.
Yeah.
You could try it the other way, where you go like, well, let's print out this way, and then you print out 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but then you have the space here at the beginning.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't want that. So what you need to do instead is separately, you need to print out, before the loop, you need to print out a post, and then you can print out 2, 3, 4, 5. And now you have a fence that looks how you want it to look.
Yeah.
This is called the loop and the half problem, because in here, you really kind of loop, you only want to loop 4 times and then a half time to get that last post up there. The loop and the half problem, where we kind of initialize the loop almost, is done in line 20, where we prompt the user to guess a number. And if you notice, line 27, we literally did a copy and paste.
Yeah.
That, with the loop and the half problem, that's one of the that's a problem with the loop and the half problem, is if you do it this way, you need to kind of copy and paste code somewhere, because basically what we need to do is we need to force it so this while loop happens maybe once. There's ways to get around this, but I'm just letting you know, so that's there. So if you this is a situation where that happens if you constantly have to do the same thing.
Okay.
So great. So I do plan to end this at 9, by the way. Not until 9:30 like I did last time. Mostly just because I have stuff to do. I totally forgot to win until 9:30. So now we have this. We're all cool. We have Booleans. We made another cool game. So now I have a question for you.
Okay.
What happens if I want to do the best 2 out of 3?
It will want to do like a second game.
Yeah, second game or up to a third game. And then obviously, it's the player versus the computer. So probably, I mean, in this case, we would need an end goal where, like, if you don't guess the number in 5 turns, you lose. We're not going to put that in right now, but if there was a lose... Actually, no, that's actually great. Let's do that next. Let's actually do that. Let's add a bit more to this. Let's add a lose condition.
Okay.
So let's basically limit the user to a certain number of guesses, and if they don't guess the correct number in that many turns, they lose.
Okay.
So what do you think we need for that?
Well, I would say we would need a while statement, kind of like up here, to test how many guesses they've done. So we would set it to, and it'd probably be about, let's see, because it's going to be in there. So I would say it's probably going to be right in 18 now. You'd start the while loop.
Mm-hmm.
And it would be something like while... Oh, actually, wait. Nope, before that, we need to define what it's going to be.
Okay.
So it will be guess count.
Yes.
So that's just going to be there. We don't need to...
We do have to assign it a number.
Okay, so I'm going to go 1, because there's always going to be 1.
Okay.
And obviously it's going to be there. So then we need to do while guess count is not equal to 5.
Okay. Keep going.
We'll put all of these into the while loop. And this, and this. That. So now everything's within this while loop.
Mm-hmm.
So
I'm going to stop you here.
okay.
So if I'm in the loop 24 and I guess the incorrect number, when will hold on. If I guess the incorrect number, my guess count should go up by 1, correct?
Yeah, and that was the next thing.
Yes, yeah. To go in there, hold on. Once you increment it, we should basically tell the user, after a while, it's like, hey, you have an incorrect number of guesses. Actually, no, sorry, yeah, just keep going. I want to see where you're going with this. Maybe you're on the right track.
Okay, so while it's like that, first we're going to do guess count
Equals guess count plus 1.
equals guess count plus 1.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then remaining. Oh, actually, wait. No, hang on a second. So this will be.
You're on the right track. Format.
That. Or would it, no, it'd be.
Go look at line 21. You can use that as an example.
I'm looking that.
Okay. Okay.
So, I'm gonna go guess number like that,
Mm-hmm.
and bracket guess number equals
Guess count.
5 minus guess count.
Correct. And then a bracket.
And we'll need another bracket, yeah. And then else, so we need another entry there.
And you can basically just copy and paste it.
Yeah. Well, I feel like typing it out.
Okay. Go ahead.
Yes. So swoop. One. And then I can just copy and paste that.
Mm-hmm.
And put that there.
Mm-hmm.
And 2 seconds to and yeah, then it would be put that guess in. Don't really need to put in because it's already been put up here how many guesses remaining.
Mm-hmm.
And
Then
once that is all done,
yes.
we need to go out of this while loop. So when it does reach 5, we need to go back here. Oops, let's go back to that. We will need to say print. Sorry, you lose. But we also need to figure out how to close out the while loop. I guess is if they do get the thing done.
So what we have right now, line 19, if guess count does not equal 5, we actually play the game.
Mm-hmm.
Get the random number, print, we get their guess. While guess is not equal random, while guess is not equal random, so if you guess the wrong number, we go into the while and we say if it's high, it's too high, increment guess count. If you're too low, you say you're too low, we increment guess count, and then we ask for new guess. Which means the only way we can get out of the while loop in 24 is if they guess the correct number.
Yeah.
So what happens if I guess the correct number on my first try?
I mean, it skips this while loop completely.
So does guess count ever get incremented?
No.
So are we? So then means now we're still in the while loop on line 19, but we're correct and we beat the game.
Yeah.
Exactly. So interesting. So we got here. So can you see that it kind of doesn't get where you're going for?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like I got everything. Like all here works great, but then I get stuck in this while loop.
Yes. Yep, correct. So let's think back, kind of put this in English. We want to go, if the user has guesses remaining and the guess does not equal random, go into this.
Oh. Okay. So is there a command that is just and, or do you have to just do, I think it's plus plus?
And is literally A and D.
Okay. Is it capitalized?
No. So why are you putting it there?
I don't know.
Yeah, let me.
I'm going to be honest. Oh wait, actually, no. It'd be while there should be back here, and correct? No, hang on.
So it's test 1 and test 2. So guess count does not equal here. Let me get you on the right path here. As you said, you're mostly correct except that. So let me change my speech around a little bit. Let me see if you get this. While guess does not equal rando, and guess we still have guesses remaining. I just started with the guess does not equal rando. Where in our code do we have a while guess does not equal rando?
That'd be right here.
Line 24, exactly. So we went to add another test that goes while guess does not equal rando, and we have guesses remaining, and now you need to take we have guesses remaining into Python. So this is what kind of programmers do. They take the English description of what they want to do or what their bosses want to do, and we put it into code.
Okay.
So you would basically do a space and.
So right here, so it'd be space and.
Mm-hmm. And it should be and then now, what is the code equivalent of while there are guesses remaining? You've already written it.
While there are guesses remaining.
Hint: it's your first while loop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's
Not the while. Just copy the guess count. Guess count does not equal 5.
and then put it there.
Correct. That's what I'm looking for. So this has 2 tests in it. Test 1 is guess does not equal rando, and you have guess count not equal to 5. So that way, while guess does not equal rando and guess count, so basically now they have up to 5 guesses. If they don't guess in 5 guesses, they lose.
Okay.
Right? So I'm going to switch this around very quickly. And that is, first I wanted you to hear it, but this will make your life a little bit easier when we do it this way. Because we want the guess count not equal to 5 to have more priority than the guess does not equal rando.
Yeah.
So, now that we have that test there, we can get rid of this.
And we can bring everything back to.
Before you do start doing all that, let me try something here. Let's see if this works. Cool. So you can copy what you need and press tab and it'll tab all the lines, and you can press shift tab to tab the other way.
Okay, so then.
So now, yeah, exactly. You can do that too. I guess I didn't get that on. So just shift tab.
It's not working for me.
Oh, that's weird. I don't know. It's not working for me either. I love tabs. Oh, that's because they're spaces.
Weird.
The hell?
I tabbed them in.
Oh, hold on. Okay, so we get the random number, we have the guess count, we have the rando, print, guess, cool. While guess count does not equal 5 and guess does not equal rando, we do this whole entire thing. So now we're going to basically lift out some stuff from this if statement, because I have a question for you.
Okay.
If we're in this while loop, if guess is greater than rando, we increment guess count by 1.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we increment guess count by 1. Okay. So if we're always going to increment it no matter what, one thing we can we can take it out of the ifs of if, and we can only just paste it right there. If it's always going to happen, put it there. We can technically also do it with the print statements as well. And just to show you, because I think you would like it, it's gonna be really interesting. So we're actually going to do that, and it will look prettier. Just trust me, it will look prettier. And then we will go. Print. That. There we go. And that way we can get rid of that. And now, because basically once you start copy and pasting code, that is a red flag where you need to go, okay, I'm copy and pasting code. What can I do to not copy and paste?
Yeah.
Like, you can go really far into the rabbit hole of I'm trying to not copy and paste. There's a point where you get to too much, but we don't have to read it now. So now this is simpler. We see on line 24 that we'll always increment guess count. We have our logic of line 26 through 29. And then let's actually put these. God damn it. And then do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we have either your guess is too high or your guess is too low, and then we just have the how many guesses remaining.
Yeah.
Cool. So now let's walk through this quickly. Let's just drop that down. Let's not worry about it. So now if we walk through this, we basically know all of this is correct. Line 17 through 21, I trust that the code's gonna work. You trust the code's gonna work. We already tried it. We know it works.
Yeah.
So don't have to worry about it. So really, it's the meat of what we're going through is here.
Yeah.
So if you note, so while guess count does not equal 5 and guess does not equal random, so if we guess the incorrect number, it's going to go into the while loop. We say that, all right, they've already guessed twice. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Yes? Yeah, they have. Yeah, sorry, yeah, you're correct. Yeah, sorry, I was wrong. They've guessed once. So, yeah, no, yeah, they guessed once. And this is, so, sorry. So the increment guess count, then this is what we've done before. Then we print out how many guesses they have remaining, and this should not be there. That should not be there either.
I made a mistake too, so that should be fixed now.
Yes. And then we prompt for them to enter a guess.
Yeah.
So, now the exit condition. So we have now added a second. So now because we entered a second test, we have a second exit condition. We can exit the while loop either 1 if guess count is 6 or higher, or if guess equals random. Which means now we cannot assume that once we get to line 34, the user has guessed the correct number.
Yeah.
Because we could be out of here because guess count is too high. So now, instead of just saying, congrats, you got the right number, we now have to do more ifs and go, if the user has guessed too many times, tell the user that they've lost because they've guessed too many times. Otherwise, they got the right number.
Yeah.
So let's do that.
All right. So we'll need another. It would be an if statement. Ooh, go on my website. If
Mm-hmm.
guess count equal 5,
Mm-hmm.
and then tab.
Don't forget the colon. Correct. Else.
And then here, else,
Don't forget the colon.
and colon.
There you go.
Okay.
You want to try it?
All right. Ooh.
So now, just try to guess until you get exhaust your guess count.
That won't work.
No, that won't work. No, that won't. Enter a number. Here we go. Keep going. One more time.
Hang on a second. So 1, 2, 3, 4. No, that shouldn't have been it. I've already done my 5.
That's okay. Just put in and then a number. I want to see what it looks like at the end. There you go. So the overall logic is better. So now the problem is you have 6 guesses instead of 5.
Yeah.
So there is multiple ways to do this. On line 23, you can say, well, guess count does not equal 4. You can do. I think that you can do that. You can make guess count start at 1, although that kind of doesn't make sense because how can guess count be 1 if they haven't guessed yet?
Yeah.
So here again, we're kind of entering the loop in the half problem. So let me show you something. So you know how I mentioned that you have to line 21, like line 32 is a copy of line 21?
Yeah.
I know it's at least not on my side. I'm almost done, I swear. I love doing this so much. So now we have line 21 and 22 is kind of setting up the loop so it works.
Okay.
So we have to increment guess count when they guess, which means down here on line 35, we also have to increment guess count when they guess. And so now guess count is 0. They guess count is 1. If guess count does not equal 5, which is true, and guess does not equal rando, then it goes in, then it does this stuff. So there we go. So that's where I'm getting the problem with that. Now let's say we added another kind of step to our initialization phase, and we added it on line 24. We would have to take the same thing and add it to line 35.
Yeah.
So now you get into if you update it here, you also have to update it here. If you update it here, you have to update it here. And once you get into that, eventually you're going to forget something, and something's going to mess up, and there's going to be a bug, and your manager's going to yell at you, and it's a Friday at 5 o'clock, and you just want to go home and see your daughter.
Yeah.
Sorry. I think you did a good job, Azmodan. Let's take this. We are going to end it today. You got pretty good. We're going to save this. I think next time we will work on the we want to do a best 2 out of 3.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds good.
Yeah, best 2 out of 3. But yeah, so what we got done today was we went over again kind of the while loops, the for loops, and we expanded the number guess to include the correct logic to help the users too high, too low. We included the guess count to make sure that the user will lose the game, because you never win all the time. We also added to, make sure to check that, hey, if you lost, to tell them, hey, you lose. We also kind of refactored this a bit so the logic is a bit more clean, so we can see that it kind of makes more sense. Yeah, so lurkers who are lurking, thank you very much for lurking. Watchers who are watching, thank you so very much for watching. Bots who are botting, thank you very much for botting. Catch me tomorrow at 11 o'clock in the morning. I'm going to go over some 68K programming code. Azmodan, do you have any outros you want to say?
Thanks everybody for coming by for this programming stream. I am slowly but steadily learning. Thank you, that programming guy, for
You're welcome.
Teaching me.
Mm-hmm.
I am going to go offline for about 5-ish minutes. Just tuck my kid in, make sure she's in bed, and then I will be back with more Persona 5.
Is she staring at you from the doorway?
She was.
All right, I'll let you go, Azmodan.
But yeah, I'll be in for more Persona 5, so hopefully I'll see you guys there.
Yep. All right, bye everyone.
Good night.